This is Andy Chambers. Thank you for joining me for today's update. We've reached a time of year when the stock market has been known to either get soft or go south. Today we're going to look at some stocks that look like they could be poised for a pullback. The first stock is IWM, the iShares tracking stock for the Russell 2000 Small Stock Index. IWM broke the daily pattern of higher highs and higher lows when it closed below the April swing low on May 24th. The close below the previous swing low broke the pattern of higher highs and higher lows on the daily chart. The break of support suggests that the current rally is likely to make a lower high top and the next decline is likely to go below the May low. The initial downside targets for a decline are 77 and 74. A close over the May 2nd high of 86.82 would reaffirm the bull trend. The next stock we're going to look at is XLE. XLE is an ETF that tracks the Energy Select Sector Index. There's no doubt that the energy sector has been very bullish this year. However, we think the sharp decline during the first week of May could be a sign of a top. If so, the current rally could form a lower high top that could be the right shoulder of a Head and Shoulders top. If that pattern takes shape and is ultimately completed, it could result in a significant decline. Be alert for signs of a lower high top. If a top is in place, the initial downside targets are 65 and 62.50. ABX, or Barrick Gold, is another stock that broke the pattern of higher highs and higher lows on the daily chart. It also broke the uptrend line that had been in place since last year's low. We would be alert for opportunities to sell rallies. If a top is in place, ABX could ultimately decline toward last year's low of 33.65. A close over the April high of 55.74 would reaffirm the bull trend. Sears Holding Company, or SHLD, has been weak all year. We would consider buying long-term puts if it rallies back to 75 or higher. Long-term, we see the potential for decline toward 36. The initial hurdle for the bulls is this year's high of 94.79. Baker Hughes, or BHI, made a new high for the year in April and has a base of support at 66. If it makes a lower high top and breaks support, we see the potential for a decline toward 50. Ralph Lauren, or RL, has been a very strong stock. However, the big gap down on May 25th could be a sign of a top. The initial hurdle for the bears is this year's low of 102.33. If a top is in place, RL could ultimately pull back toward 90. A close over the May high of 136.50 would reaffirm the bull trend. Massey Energy, or MEE, has been in a strong bull trend. However, the bearish reversal the first week of May could mark a lower high top. A break of support at 57.50 could result in a further decline. The initial downside target is 48. A close over the April high of 71.19 would reaffirm the bull trend. Noble Energy, or NBL, could also have a top in place. The initial downside targets are 80 and 70. A close over this year's high of 98.99 would reaffirm the bull trend. In AutoNation, or AN, close below last week's low of 32.60 could open the door for a decline toward $26. A top appears to be in place in National Oilwell Varco, or NOV. If the current outlook is correct, NOV could decline below $50. A close over this year's high of 80.55 would reaffirm the bull trend. A lower high top setup or a close below last week's low of 37.10 would support the possibility that a top could be in place in JCI. The weekly chart is relatively wide open down to $30. A close over 42.53 would reaffirm the bull trend. St. Jude Medical, or STJ, broke through support just below $51. The next downside target is $43. A close over the May high of $53.60 would reaffirm the bull trend. The uptrend in Pioneer Natural Resources, or PXD, appears to be over for now. The initial downside target is $75. The daily chart is oversold right now. We would consider selling a rally. Initial resistance is seen at $95. A close over this year's high of 106.07 would reaffirm the bull trend. Rowan Companies, or RDC, broke support near $39. The recent rally appears to be a selling opportunity. The initial downside targets are 33 and 30. A close over the April high. A close over the April high of 44.83 would reaffirm the bull trend. Last week's gap down could mark a top for Stericycle, or SRCL. A break of support at $84 could result in a decline toward 70. A close over 95.71 would reaffirm the bull trend. And last, we have Success Factors, or SFSF. SFSF broke through initial support in early May. A rally toward 37 could set up a selling opportunity. The initial hurdle for the bears is this year's low of 27.79. The next support beyond that is near 23. A close over 40.44 would reaffirm the bull trend. Well, that's the last stock for today. Thank you for your time and attention. Good luck and good trading.